get through this night. It's not cold.
Together.
Gotta turn your mic on, but.
Sure.
We will have the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance by our Vice Mayor Johnson.
Shall we stand? Dear God, we thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight to do the city business. We thank you for this lovely day that you've given us and the beautiful days ahead. Guide us as we make the decisions for the city. Amen. Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was about to say, recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker? Present. Commissioner Garver?
Here.
Commissioner White?
Here.
Vice Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Mayor Lamb?
Here. You had in your packet the minutes from our last beer board meeting of October 19. Do I hear a motion to accept those?
Move to approve.
We have a motion and a second for our October 19 minutes. Did you have?
I made a motion.
Okay,
They just wrote all over you.
okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Garver?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson?
Yay.
Mayor Lamb?
Yay. We have no old business, so we'll move to our new business. An application for approval of the Collegedale Tobacco and Beverage Mart on Appleton Pike. You can approach the microphone and give us your name and your address. You can turn it down. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Pallavi Patel. As a store address or home address? I'm sorry.
I believe, according to our financial manager, everything is in place.
Yes, they passed the background check and they filled out an application and paid the fees.
Okay, and it's just a change of ownership, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions or comments for her?
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the new owner.
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Who are you?
She said, oh,
Commissioner Baker?
yes.
Commissioner Garver?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson?
Yay.
Mayor
One of them days.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I don't care.
It's only going to go then.
That's it.
Monday.
That's the end of our beer board agenda. Anyone else have any comments or questions?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We're adjourned on the beer board. Call the commission meeting to order. And since we've already had our invocation and pledge of allegiance with our beer board, we're not going to repeat that tonight at this time. So roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Present.
Commissioner Garver,
Here.
Commissioner White,
Here.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Here.
Mayor Lamb.
Here. In your packet, you had the minutes from our May 3 commission meeting. Are there any corrections to that?
I make a motion we accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the May 3 meeting minutes. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. Our next item are the minutes from our May 11 especially called meeting. Any corrections or need to be made on that?
Move to approve.
A second.
We have a motion and a second for the May 11 meeting minutes. Roll call.
Commissioner Baker,
Yay.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. Now's the time we have set aside for comments from our citizens. If you wish to share something with us, just approach the microphone and give us your name and your address. And before we do that, I just would like to make mention of the loss of our representative, Mike Carter. His service will be at the Ottawa Baptist Church on Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. And there will be visitation starting at noon up until the service begins at 2. And we want to give our deepest sympathy to Joan and her boys and grandchildren. And Representative Carter was a person that was very people-oriented, and he was, even though some of us didn't always see eye to eye with him on his political issues dealing with cities, small cities, he was a very thoughtful and person that we could always talk to, and we always appreciated that. So if there's any comments from our citizens, we'll take those at this time. Seeing none, we'll go on with our agenda. The first item under unfinished business is the hiring of our city manager. We had 4 candidates that we interviewed last Monday or last Tuesday. And so we are, we're open for comments, questions.
So I'm assuming we're ready to make a motion. Is that correct?
You can,
We
We
can
need a-
discuss it after that.
we have a motion, then a second, and then we'll have discussion and then a vote.
I'll make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we hire Wayne Hines as our city manager. I've been impressed with him on the things that he has done in the last 11 weeks or so. I've talked to a lot of people in City Hall and in Public Works and PD, and I've gotten very good feedback from him, so that would be my motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion?
I found Wayne to be very helpful and pleasant. I've heard the same thing about his willingness and his way of dealing with the people in the city employment. I can't help but look at the scores and look at the things that the other candidates were judged on. And I know Wayne is in fact a known commodity, which I byfly, which I can certainly appreciate. My history in my journey in academia, there are pluses and minuses to every aspect of employment. Bring somebody in that doesn't know anybody, equal level playing field for everybody was always one of the interesting things. Familiarity. So there are lots of pros and cons. I feel like as a friend, there's no doubt, because I don't know these people. But I hope we might actually look at the hiring of this much deeper than a friendship, because we know how those things happen in this environment, not only in our community, but all communities. I've heard him make a pretty passionate speech about wanting to live out his career here as an engineer. And I understand that as a result of his time in the interim position, he's found out that suits him very well as well. So I think my only comment personally to weigh in would be a long-term stint as an engineer is probably a possibility. A long-term stint as a city manager here probably isn't to be, because it's just part of the journey. So I have some definite questions. I think that we have people come in and do research. We have people come in. And if you look at the numbers, I think it's good to do some more discussion about this before we. Or do we care what the numbers say? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
I think the numbers, in theory, are pretty close if you look at all of them.
Well, I've done that very carefully. And some of them are very close. There's no doubt.
Some of them are higher than others in all
Yeah.
four candidates.
Yeah.
And I think to go off the vice mayor, I've weighed these options, but when you look at the numbers, Wayan scoring a 2.64 and Ms. Marsh scoring a 2.72 overall is pretty impressive for somebody who's not had the job before. So I want to commend you for performing so well. That's very impressive, and it's kind of has tipped my opinion of the direction that I will most likely vote. Because when you look at the numbers and then you look at the institutional knowledge that's important, the continuity of government, and these assessment scores, it's kind of almost a no-brainer, at least for the time being, that one candidate stands out. And I want to thank the rest of the commissioners for being open-minded and having the community engagement interview process that we had. I appreciate y'all for that. So I just wanted to point out that the numbers, when you strictly look at numbers, 2.72 for Ms. Marsh and 2.64 for Mr. Hines is almost a dead heat.
A question that I might throw out is, I heard several times during these interviews that we hired Ted Rogers with no experience. But Ted was here for 15 years, and my question is, do we start at the bottom again with someone with no experience, or do we start with someone who has a track record from another area that had very good recommendations from the people with whom she worked?
Okay. Can I interject here?
Sure.
It is very close, and I think that if we look that Wayan is in the top two, I personally was one that did not want to hire anyone within the city based upon what I knew was in the pool, except I recommended Wayan to be the interim city manager. And in that time, I have found that, yes, he has not had city manager experience per se, but the other person that's up there, if you look at it, she has been in city management, but not as a city manager. She started 15 years ago, more or less at the bottom of it, and she worked her way up. I think that we need somebody that is innovative. I think that somebody that can make the tough decisions. He is younger, yes, but he was around the age that we hired. Yes, Ted was probably similar, and I love Ted. I've been his biggest supporter for all these years. However, I think we got to look at, number one, I think that we need to look at if the person is qualified, and which I do believe he is. Yes, he's an engineer, okay? You can't compare him to Ted. We're not going to replace Ted. Even though I say all people are replaceable, but you're dealing with personalities, you're dealing with different backgrounds. But he's very educated. He's made decisions based upon $30 million a month budgets. He's worked in areas and dealing with hardships and conflicts and so forth. You take the same leadership skills no matter what your occupation is. I do have a sense of, I can't get a gut feeling. The other person I felt was Miss Marsh was very, very thorough. But something that resonated in me and I can't shake is to make the statement that she was not really looking for a job. And she didn't say that more than one time. So my question is, in my mind, why apply if you're not really looking? Okay? And I understand that she wants to move back in the city. I understand that. But I think that we have to look at this as, I know about strategic planning. In every aspect, in every field that we've had in Collegedale, Mr. Hines has been active, engaged in all of them in the years that he's been here. It's not like he just walked off the street and come into the city. That's not how it's been. You know, and because he's very analytical, I am too. You know, he probably doesn't talk as much as I do, but that comes from being a teacher and projecting out to a classroom. I think we need to consider the fact that he is local. He has 14 years invested in our area, not just working with us, but he's from this area. He has a compassion for the people, and he's not afraid to say no when no needs to be said. And I understand about being friends, okay, because you have to cut off like, okay, I could be friendly, but when it comes down to the bottom line, if it has to be a firing or a hiring, he's very capable of doing that, and he doesn't take it lightly. Okay?
I just want to make it clear, I'm not trying to say we need to hire another Ted. So I don't know why, if you said that because of what I said. I'm just looking at, from the experience perspective, she has been involved with, just for comparison, she's been involved with city managers since 2012.
Okay. And I understand that. I understand where you're coming from because I looked at it too. And it's been, and I'm not putting her down. I'm not belittling her in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But I think we need to look at what is in our area today, what needs to be done, people that are very well versed in what we're doing, and who has a vision for our city and already knows the similarities and so forth.
Sometimes
what's
that's
going
not
on.
the best.
It may not, but how do we know unless we give a try? We've tried with someone who has and has not. I mean, the average expectancy for a city manager is probably around 4 years. We have been blessed to have Ted. And that's because of the commission, not just Ted alone. It's for us all working together as a team. And there has been disputes. That comes with the territory. But based upon, I personally have gone and talked with people in the area, the city managers, not just city managers, but the department heads and so forth, to get a feel, because they're the ones in here working. Okay, and then they come back to us. And many of them have told me that they were kind of leery about having him as an interim, and they changed their opinion
Yes, I've heard that as
after
well.
working with him and saying, no, he's very fair, he's very bright, he knows how to deal and solve issues. He's ahead of the game. So I think that I think personally, from that standpoint, and I was totally against it at first, not against you, Whale. I was totally against bringing anybody into this, that in the city. I changed my view after doing my research and trying to be open-minded about certain things. And I understand in her city, she's worked and all that, and I think she's good. I do not think at this time that she's the right person.
So
That's my
I would just,
opinion.
I would just correct this. She has been city manager since 2018, November, for
Yeah,
the city of Madison Heights.
But she's been involved as deputy city manager. She'd also be involved with the acting city manager uh, since July that year. I was just looking at the assistant city manager. She began in 2012. And
And I-
she moved up to the city manager.
Well, I think the thing is, so, starting from the bottom is not always a bad thing. And I'm going to use our police officers as an example. We get a lot of police officers who have to go through academy. So they are starting at the bottom of the barrel before they work themselves up through our department. So I have no problems with people starting at the bottom. So police officers, we send them to academy to get trained and certified by the state of Tennessee. Then they work with a training officer, and then we put them on the road. So
we do that too as commissioners, and everyone in here goes to the training and TMAS. I'm sorry.
no, I'm good.
We don't just say, okay, come and do that. You're going through classes, you're going through workshops. It's a continuous education process. And we have that at our disposal. Not one of us, except for Tim, he had previous experience. When we were elected the first time, we didn't have commissioner's experience, but we sought out, and Ted helped to put that in place, that we went to workshops. We were very active in the Capitol and so forth, and we still are. COVID's the only thing that slowed us down. So I think that, and Wayne has been part of that. He's been part of that and exposed to that in the years that he's been here with us. So I think that we need to look at, number one, we're a smaller city. Our demographics are different. And had he started, we've got people here that have started very low, even in City Hall, and moved up. What's wrong with rewarding the people with you if they have the education, the background, and the desire and the compassion for the people, and they educate themselves to make themselves knowledgeable, to promote them within?
Nothing wrong with that at all.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
No.
But I understand,
No,
I understand where y'all are coming from.
Regardless of what happens here, as far as this vote, I'm looking forward to continuing to work with Wayne regardless of where you end up tonight.
He still has a job somewhere.
Right. So it's not going to impact that. So I just want to get that out there. We've worked well. I've enjoyed being in his office and getting acquainted with him. But to think that we're really happy to have someone with no experience versus someone with lots of experience is ludicrous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't believe anybody would prefer, man, I got this dude with no experience. I can't hardly wait because they're going to, come on. You want people to bring in their ideas and then mold them into your facility and your community and your thought process and the way you do things, sure. But for them not to bring other experiences to the table and grow us with them seems to me like an opportunity that we may choose, but I find it interesting that we want to say that's better than bringing someone in who has a lot of experience. And when they did the thing that really kind of tipped my hand, and I think we'd have gotten a very similar list from Wayne, was the recommendation and comments from the people that were called. When you saw that 2 or 3 pages, and they're going to send our names, the names of people recommend to people who like them, and they're going to do a good job. And I understand that whole situation. But still, very, very, very impressive feelings, thoughts about this other person from people she's worked with previously. And like I said, I'm sure Wayne would get the same reaction in our community, in our work site here. But that was very, very positive. And I think it'd be interesting, I really do, if we found somebody to come in and start level. None of the commissioners would have an in and pull the commissioner aside and say, we got this. I mean, that kind of stuff is talked about here in this community. And so it would clear a lot of things like that may or may not be impacting government, but optics are optics. I'll leave it at that.
Go ahead.
I just want to make it clear, Wayne, I can work with you 24 hours a day if I had to.
It'll be
Even if I didn't have to.
Even if I didn't have to stay in your office that long. I just want Collegedale to grow. I want them to not be stagnant and move backwards. And I'm not saying that Wayne would do that. It's just that new ideas would come in from experiences that Mrs. Marsh had from other areas. And I just want what is best for Collegedale, no matter who the mayor, who the city manager might be, or the mayor.
The one thing I would say is, one concerning comment that sticks in my mind about Miss Marsh is, it sounds like she wants to work more than the normal work week. And it like she tries to drive her leadership team to work weekends, and if she gets excited about projects. And I don't know if y'all heard that or.
She doesn't like to delegate.
Yeah, well, she was saying that she led me to believe she expects the city managers to,
Work over.
or the
She's a
leadership team.
workaholic.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, but I mean, is that the right? I mean,
No, that's her privilege, not ours.
yeah, but
to
does she have the right to
complain.
influence our managers to do that as well?
I didn't read that in any of the comments, did you guys?
I read one of the comments where she has difficulty delegating and that sometimes communicating. But the thing is, with the communicating had to deal with pertaining to her personal family. Well, I don't tell everybody at work my personal family's needs or whatever. That's my personal family. I'm an elected official. I keep my private life. I mean, they can see things, but I don't think that's really a fault because she doesn't want to talk or reveal personally something about her family. That's a private matter between family. If it impacted the community, that's something different. I mean, if they were doing something unlawful or whatever, but I can respect her privacy. But then there was a section where she has a difficult time letting go. She's more of a micromanager. I read things that she's more of a micromanager in the sense that she has difficulty delegating things to people. And I think you have to work as a team.
So what I would like to say, and to clarify for the residents in the audience, is that what the numbers that I quoted, the 2.64, the 2.72, came from the assessment study. So not only did we have the interviews that happened here in the public, the candidates also participated in a closed door assessment center with area city managers, retired city staff, and performed a task. They also did interviews with department heads. And like Commissioner Baker had said before, I know a lot of staff was very concerned with working with Wayne, and they have done a 180 degrees. And I don't think I talked to one city staff person that even sat on the fence any longer. They were all almost begging, some were, that they wanted to work for Mr. Hines. And the mindset and the motivation of staff is very, very important for us to keep moving forward, for them to be working for somebody that they trust. So I think my decision is based a lot on what department heads have referred and recommended. They were a part of our process. So it's not, we made sure that there was other people engaged. So it wasn't just the 5 of us making a decision. So overwhelmingly, talking to city staff, they believe in Wayne. And I think when you have belief in your leader, you're going to do great things. And especially with somebody with the institutional knowledge. And Wayne, don't take this wrong, but for an engineer, you scored pretty high for interpersonal skills. So, some people may say that being an engineer might hurt you a little bit, but on the community engagement, you scored higher and some other things. So I was very impressed. And when I got that assessment center, I was kind of a little shocked. I thought you would have scored a little lower. No offense, but with no experience, when you're going up against 3 people who have experience, it just speaks to your ability to lead. And Collegedale is in a very transformational position right now, and we're moving in a great direction. We're moving full steam ahead. And my concern is we bring somebody in new that doesn't mesh with our city staff. And now we're having to look for a planning director, a public works director, an airport director, an HR director, and a new finance director. And that to me is more worrisome than choosing somebody that's internal. When you look at the big picture of where the city is moving. If there's nothing else if there's no other comments, I'd move the previous question.
Any other comments? If not, he's called question. Yeah. Roll call, please.
Yeah.
Well, would you wait till she calls your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Monday. I've had one of those days today. I really have.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
No.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
No.
Thank you.
Welcome, Wayne,
Thank you.
and we look forward to working with you.
So I would like to make a motion regarding the hiring of the city manager. We need to discuss salary.
Oh, okay.
You looked at me like I didn't have.
Well,
room
I
to
thought
talk.
we had already made the motion and voted on it. so
No,
I
we
didn't-
voted on hiring, but I think that what we need to do is ask Sam to be our negotiator of salary between Wayne and the city commission. We could ask Sam that question.
Do we have a recommendation for him as a
Well, I mean,
amount?
I think the thing to do would be to discuss with Wayne what his expectations are.
Okay,
And then I can bring that number back to you. I mean, eventually you're going to have to vote on it
right.
in an open meeting. And so I don't know whether, Wayne and I can have that discussion. I'll bring it back to you at the first meeting in June. And then you can discuss it and vote on it at that time.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you.
I move to ask you to do that, sir.
No, second.
Do we need a second on that?
You got one?
I got one anyway.
Oh, okay.
I'm on a roll today, people.
You sure are. Okay, roll call on the motion for Sam Elliott, our attorney, to discuss salary with our new city manager.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. Okay, now we go to our new business. We have the first reading of ordinance 1092. Would you please read the caption, please?
An ordinance to amend the official zoning map to rezone property on Little Debbie Parkway from C2 Shopping Center Commercial to R1L Low Density Single Family Residential District, and further described as the portion of Hamilton County tax parcels 131,096.04 and 131,096 as depicted by the Moon subdivision plat recorded in Plat Book 120, page 92 of the Hamilton County Register of Deeds, said area being located within the corporate limits of the city of Collegedale, Tennessee.
Kelly, could you come up and give us a little background on this? Kelly Martin is our planning director.
Thank you very much. This was heard at the Planning Commission recently, and as the caption says, property is on Little Debbie Parkway. The request is for C2 rezoning to R1L low density single family residential. It's for a plat that has been recorded, but Hamilton County GIS has not assigned it a tax map number, and that's why the caption was a little longer describing the exact property. But the plat, once again, has been recorded. It's about 1.14 acres. And the applicant is here, but I know the second reading for this item will be in June, but I'm here to answer any questions in the meantime. And it does come from Planning Commission with a recommendation to approve.
Where exactly is this piece of property?
I'm
zooming in and I'm just,
This is part of the Wittenberg property.
okay.
So it would be off of the driveway to the east of Little Debbie Parkway, and it would be carving 1.14 acres out of that larger tract.
And I understand it, a family member is wanting to build there?
That's correct.
Okay.
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the first reading on ordinance 1092. Roll call.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay.
Madam
Thank you.
Mayor, while Kelly's still up there, you have an item on the agenda, new business for approval of sewer easements. And
Mhm.
Kelly informs me that that has not gone before the planning commission yet, and since it relates to a public facility, it needs to. So he can answer any questions on it, but just to, while he's there, save him some time.
Is that for number 4 and 5?
Just for.
Just
for-
four?
Yes, four, that is, would be considered under TCA, Tennessee Code Annotated, that would be considered a mandatory referral when the city executes such an agreement for projects, parks, sewers, accepting property or disposing of property would be what we consider a mandatory referral that would reach the planning commission first, similarly to a zoning case.
So when you get to it, if you'll just defer it till, you won't have a planning commission meeting until after the first meeting, will you, Kelly?
Right, it will be on June 14th, I believe, will be the planning commission meeting.
So you can defer it to your second meeting in June when the time comes.
Shall we go ahead and make a motion now while he's here?
May as well.
Okay.
Move to approve the request to defer.
Second.
And that would then be the 15th, or the 14th is when we have it would be the 21st for our commission meeting. Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is clarification of the retired city manager's benefits.
I'll let Mr. Cash have my microphone. I'll just move back.
Mr. Cash, you just looking for a recommendation at this point?
I'm sorry?
Are you looking for a recommendation from the city commission? What we want to do, is that what you're?
Yes, you all need to, if you want to discuss what has happened, you all are free to move to amend or clarify or take no action.
Okay, some discussion?
I move to approve, to move forward with taking no action.
Is there a second?
I don't think you need a motion to take no action.
Oh,
Okay. If that's the case, then we would just not take any action then tonight on this.
Correct.
Okay,
What you all have already approved would stand.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we cease payment to our former city manager.
This is a motion to discuss,
And I don't know if it's cease or it's to
rescind.
rescind what we made in the commission meeting. Is it rescind? Would that be a correct term?
Yeah, I think if you want to reverse what you have done at the May 1st meeting, it would need to be a motion to rescind that action.
That would be my motion.
May I ask a question? If this fails, can another motion be made?
no, there's a motion on the floor, but there's no second, so it failed.
Okay, so can I make another motion, is what I'm
Yes.
asking?
Yes,
Since it
you
failed.
can.
Okay, I'm making a motion to amend
Well,
to,
let's be clear. The first motion failed for a lack of second, right?
right,
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so I would like to make an amend to clarify on the vehicle allowance and so forth. It's just a clarification.
What would your clarification be?
My clarification is, number one, I thought when I was voting, I'm speaking only for myself, that to clarify the vehicle allowance, I said that I did not want to pay the vehicle allowance because he was no longer employed. He retired. So because he was not working for the city anymore, the city should not pay for his vehicle allowance. So my motion would be just to clarify that we no longer pay any more on the vehicle allowance. You know, he's got paid some, but just let it go and we pay no more.
I think to be clear, my view is that what you approved was all benefits, which include the vehicle allowance. If you don't want to, if your motion is to stop making the vehicle allowance payments, then I think you need to move to amend the proposal
Okay.
to stop the vehicle allowance payments.
Would that also include if you wanted to amend, I need legal ways of how to present this. The return, I do not want to pay the fee for the phone, the services. I feel it's in the same category as what I just said with the car, that we should no longer, the city should not pay for his telephone service nor what he got for his car, which he's no longer employed with the city, so he's not benefiting the city.
If I understand your question correctly, if you want to cease the cell phone payments and the vehicle allowance, then you need to move to amend the previous action to stop those two payments.
Okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm asking to amend the paying the car allowance, and I'm talking about the fee and the fee of the phone.
You're talking about the line fee,
Yeah.
like Verizon monthly fee.
The monthly fee is what I'm talking about. Yeah,
Okay,
that what he's been paid has been paid, but then from this point on, that we no longer pay for the car allowance and the phone fee.
Clarification, we have not paid the vehicle allowance to date, just the monthly cell phone bill
Is that all you paid so far?
and salary.
Okay. Okay, for clarification.
And that's the reason we got the demand letter of I guess, lack of better words, a lawsuit if we don't.
So
okay, so your motion is to amend the action we took
yeah,
and cease by ceasing the cell phone payment and the car allowance.
that's it. Yeah, just those two things, the
Okay.
car and the,
So that would include that he would continue with the benefits and the health insurance.
Clarification.
Excuse me, the salary and the health insurance.
I ask for a further clarification regarding the other benefits, such
Yeah.
as the incentive payment in the fall, those sorts of items, training, professional dues, et cetera.
run that by me one more time.
The annual incentive, training, dues, those sorts of items. Can we include those in whatever motion's made?
That'll be fine, because he's retired. And I think that would be appropriate. Also, I would think that maybe,
I'm just trying to decide what your motion is so we can get a second on it if someone wants to second
okay,
it.
this is what I want. I want a motion that we do not pay the car allowance that he was getting. I make a motion that we stop paying the cell phone fee. I make a motion that we maybe discontinue after 6 months of pay. That's already including what he's been paid for salary.
I don't understand that.
That
Please.
means, I think, that instead of paying 9 months, we pay 6 months of his salary that he's been getting of his fee. Does that make sense? But we no longer you know, my main view here is that I do not feel that the city should be responsible for, and I made this clear that night too, to be responsible for paying for a car that he does, the allowance for the car, because he's no longer employed. And we do not pay for the fee for the phone, because it's not being used for the city. It's being used for his own personal use, which he's entitled to use something for his own personal use, but he needs to pay for that himself, you know. And I think that's fair. I think that, you know, if that's my main point. But then if what is it, I'll do fairness, if we have to look at, instead of going the 9 months that we talked about, maybe go 6 months instead. Maybe that needs to be in a separate issue. My first one is the car and the fee. The other we'll address later.
So clarifying, you're making a motion to to not pay the car allowance
Don't pay the car allowance.
and to stop paying the Verizon bill.
And stop paying the phone fee. Whoever he has, Verizon or whoever it is.
Verizon.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion on that?
And is the 6 months?
That's a
We'll talk
different
about
issue.
the salary part later.
That's not included
That's
in
not
this
included in
motion.
this.
All right.
No.
She wanted to clarify and come back to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I second it.
Yes.
Okay.
So is there any discussion?
I just want to make sure before we move on, when you say we'll come back to other stuff,
If you need to come
the
back to it.
retention incentive that we pay out in November, is that what it's called? I mean, he's retired. I mean, I would not assume that he's expecting that.
What are
I'm
you
just
talking
clarifying.
about?
I would recommend that we take up this issue, and then if you want to talk about the retention,
Okay.
let's make a motion after
Okay.
that. Let's
Yeah.
just go line by line and kind
Because you guys are getting me confused.
of, I think for the sake of
do
clarity,
this
so we don't
and
get
then
into a
do that.
situation like we're in, let's go by these two, and then we'll come back to the
Okay.
conversation.
Yeah, because it's a
about
different
that.
line item.
Yeah.
Roll
Um,
call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. Now, did you have something?
Oh, no, it's
Commissioner
fine
White?
now.
Okay.
We took care of it.
I just think before we start throwing another motion out here, that it would be appropriate for some of us to have some comments and not confuse them within the motions. I think I've heard everyone since his retirement, Ted, say very positive things. I think one of my biggest fears, and I actually made a request, a part of that evening's events, was that we slow down a little bit. But no, I think there was some kind of a feeling of whatever that pushed us forward. It seems to me like any further action that we would take tonight would be we're starting to harass somebody rather than, in fact, dealing with something, because we had an opportunity to take our time and deal with this at one time. We chose not to. And I think sometimes learning is an expensive thing. I really believe that if you look at the whole track record, I think that what we voted, no, it wasn't unanimous. What we voted that night, this package, was something that I was led to believe everybody thought about it and thought it was a good idea, and that's why it passed. So I think I'm not in favor of dragging this on and harassing people. I think it's important for us to put this aside, put it to rest, and allow Wayne to start working, and I'm looking forward to working with Wayne to start moving forward. And I think it's a crucial moment in our community's history right here, how we treat people. So
I think to clarify your point, though, or to talk about what you just said, we're not harassing him. He threatened to sue us and sent a demand letter.
But that issue's over with.
But what I'm saying is,
No, it's not over with.
Oh, I thought that was.
I mean, we made a recommendation. His attorney can either accept
Oh,
it
okay.
or
Okay,
Ted can deny it.
okay.
right, so I want to be careful to make sure that, I voted no originally. So whatever happens here is a change, and that's not harassing. This is in response to a demand letter that was initiated from the former city manager after getting a very, very, very lucrative and out of the not normal retirement package. So I don't think it's us harassing him. I think it's, at this point, we've been served a demand letter, and we're now having to clarify because the minutes were a little broad, and what was said in the meeting wasn't necessarily translated, or it's not being clarified. So that's what we're doing tonight. It's not us harassing the former city manager, and I don't think that should be alluded to say that the Commissioner Baker and Vice Mayor Johnson are wanting to harass the former city manager. We are responding to his demand letter.
So I think the whole thing we really all need to understand is when the mayor brought this to us, the mayor said this is common practice to give a city manager 9 months to 12 months of pay. Well, I went and asked MTAS this, and MTAS said, no, it's not. This is unheard of unless you have a physical contract with the city manager. And basically, you would pay that if he was terminated. He was not terminated. He resigned. So I understand what Phil's saying. It's a nice thing to do, but legally, should we have done it? That's another question. But MTAS, who we operate under, give for guidance, said this is unheard of. So that's the reason I say stop it.
My statement that I made that night that it was common practice did not come from Hannah. And I knew that no one in the state of Tennessee, it's not common practice unless there's a contract. What I did was I went on the web and I searched out a number of different areas in the United States to see how they treated someone who retired after 15 years of successful work in a city management. So that's where I got my comment. It wasn't from Hannah or MTask.
I think probably some of the misunderstanding here, because I know Katie the mayor is very thorough, okay, is that maybe I misunderstood, was suggested that we ask the attorney, our attorney, and to ask MTask, what is the common procedure for someone who retires? What should we do that would be appropriate? Because we did want to treat him fairly. You know, we know he did an outstanding job. We've backed him. And then in that meeting, we were under I don't want to say the assumption, but we understood, knowing our mayor and how thorough she is, we thought because we had made the statement, check with our attorney and check with MTask, that we made the decision based upon what we thought of the people that we're doing. And it's just, and then what happened is that because it wasn't in the minutes proclaimed as to what was recorded. I stated in the meeting that, I don't have a problem paying the amount. I have a problem with, I do not want to pay for the car because it's no longer being used for the city. And anyone that has a business, that you have a car that's used for the city, you don't get to keep it if you leave. You don't get to keep that. It's not considered a benefit. It's maybe part of your salary at that time, but it goes away. It's listed separately. And the same thing about the phone. We had made a statement about equipment, but we did not say, I said, I do not want to pay the service of the phone because it's not being used for the city. And I think that was fair, So now then some knowledge has come to us, and the fact that the wisest thing was, and I'll be honest with me, if somebody offered me the package that I had gotten, and then they said, oh, we didn't want to pay this, I would be happy with the package that I gotten. It's not that we're trying to victimize the city manager, the former city manager, because we do have a great deal of respect for him. And we know what he's done for our city, but it has not always been smooth sailing. Okay, but we have sailed forward.
So.
The rationale, let me get,
Yes, that's fine.
just for the, so the audience knows, the rationale that was given when I made this motion, when Ted retired, was for 15 years of faithful service in an executive position for the city of Collegedale, continuous high ratings on evaluations completed by commissioners and key managers, led the city from near bankruptcy to financial security, and sustained growth of the city during his tenure. That was the rationale for making the motion that was passed 4-1. Commissioner White?
Before we keep going, I do want to clarify one thing. When we voted to stop paying the phone, I think we should give ample time for Mr. Rogers to find new service before just cutting him off. I think that's the right thing to do. Give him a couple days to work with Verizon to do a transfer of billing responsibility so he can keep his number. I do want to clarify that. I don't think we should just immediately stop paying. The right thing to do there is to give him ample time, a week or so, to shop around and to see what he needs to do to transfer that. Is that?
That makes sense to me.
What about a 30-day? Because usually you're under contract.
Well, I don't know
Is that
where
too
we
long?
are in the billing cycle because billing cycles are different. So that could enter us into a new billing cycle.
Okay.
So maybe till the end of this billing cycle, if I don't know where we are. Andrew can.
Do you want to make that as part of a motion?
Yeah, sure. I would move or yeah, I'd
Yeah.
amend our last motion to state that the city will cease payment for Mr. Rogers' cell phone service at the end of this billing cycle.
We're not taking comments right now from the citizens. You can talk to us afterwards. Thank you.
I think there needs to be a second
Yes, there needs to be a second.
to the motion to amend.
Second.
Okay, everybody understand what it's about? Roll call, please. Oh, excuse me. Did you have a comment? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Garver?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson?
Yay.
Mayor Lamb?
Yay.
Okay, we can keep going with.
Okay,
Because
shall we-
I know that we need to also talk about giving city property, the phone, the computer, the chair, and the pad. That was not executed correctly because we need to surplus that.
Yes, there was the phone, a computer, are the two items that normally are, when a city no longer utilizes them, it goes on a
Gov deals.
website's what I'm trying to say, for resale. But the chair and the pad would not be. Is that correct, Michelle?
That's correct. That wouldn't be the norm to put a chair or a pad on
Yeah.
that. But the
Okay.
computer and the phone would have.
So someone would make a notion for him to return those?
I'll make a motion to return the phone and the laptop.
Laptop.
Let's put a timeline on that. If, can we amend that with a timeline? So
Yes.
that way there's a performance deadline.
We'll amend it with a timeline.
48 hours? 72 hours? I mean, well, I guess with the phone, to the end of the phone billing cycle.
That'll work fine.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay, so it would be return the phone and the laptop at the end of the
Cell phone,
cell phone pay cycle, or charge cycle.
I'll second that.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Garver?
No.
Commissioner White?
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson?
Yay.
Mayor Lamb?
Yay. Okay, shall we move on to our next item?
We need to clarify retention, bonus, and some other things, don't we?
You had
There was some
through the end of
clarification.
June. Debbie,
Pardon?
you had mentioned the end of June for payment. You said we were
Yes.
coming back to that.
We were going to come back to that, and I was going to have, if you would clarify that for me, Wayne, what we're talking about.
So some of the other benefits we were talking about were retention incentive, training, professional dues, things of the like that I was requesting clarification on.
what are the dues that we were talking about
I
paying
didn't know that was
specifically?
included in
Do you
it.
understand?
TCMA dues, ICMA dues, professional
But he's
dues.
no longer, so we don't need to pay that, right? I would think.
Well, you need
He's
to
still-
clarify it because we're going to get another demand letter.
Yeah.
That is a typical benefit for professionals at the city, as the city covers their annual dues.
Okay, so he is no longer the city manager, so I make a motion, we do not pay the dues that are allotted for a city manager since he's no longer the city manager. If he was to get a job somewhere else, then that city should pick up the dues. Does that make it sense?
I'm just asking for clarification, so we can
Clarification, I make a motion that we do not pay the dues of the city manager that left. Would you say retention?
And you want to amend it to be the retention?
And the retention, yeah,
Bonus. Or
bonus
incentive.
or incentive. Anything else I need to include in that? Clarify.
How much do those amount to approximately?
Retention incentive alone is $6,000 or $7,000.
Retention is,
$6,000 or
Six-
oh,
$7,000.
6 or 7.
Those are things that I feel like that whoever is the city manager of the city is responsible for paying. But if you're no longer employed by the city and you retired, why would you pay them? Why should the city be paying them?
I'll second it. I second. Debbie, I'll second your motion so we can have discussion formally.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Are there any further discussion on this motion?
So cease subscriptions to professional dues and then also
The retention.
the retention incentive.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay.
One more. Okay, I'm sorry. I would like to make a motion that we leave the monthly check or whatever it is, his money that would get without these benefits, stay the same. The 9 months that we agreed on or whatever, he's already been paid, what, 3 months? So you're looking for 6 more months? Clarify.
It would be through the end of December is what was previously approved.
I think we should maintain that.
Second.
I'm going to step back and ask you to re-clarify that. Because you said what we agreed to, the same,
Okay.
because it's going to be minus the car
Car,
allowance
yeah, oh
and
yeah,
the-
minus the car and all the other thing that his base pay.
That's what she said.
Isn't that what I said? Is that what I meant? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Minus the car allowance, minus the phone allowance, minus what we just passed or voted on, that. But that he keeps his other money.
In other
And that-
words, he
and-
keeps his salary,
Yes, he keeps his salary
but no, not the other benefits, only his salary and
and
his
the insurance.
health insurance.
Yes,
Point of
Okay.
order, Mr. Cash, we don't need to clarify that, correct? Because we just amended our previous motion, which was to give him that.
Those have already been approved.
Right.
okay.
The other things have been carved out, so,
We're okay then.
yeah. You
He
don't
will
need
get
to
his
change-
insurance,
there's-
salary.
That's not a change.
Okay, then we're fine then. I
Unless
take it back.
you mentioned something about 6 months, so that's, I think
No,
what
no,
the
I was
Vice Mayor was
thinking,
clarifying.
what I was doing was thinking about if he's already been paid 3 months to go to whatever it was to the end of December when we finally,
Yeah,
Did
it
that.
goes through the December 31st.
so I think he should still keep his salary and his insurance benefits.
It
Okay.
is still my opinion that we do not, but you guys already voted on it, and, I mean, it is what it is at this point, as what Commissioner Garver said, but, I mean, playing with taxpayer dollars like that, for the record, is not wise, and as Garver said, a lesson learned.
Well, sometimes you have to bite the bullet and live up to it and don't make the same mistake twice.
Our next item is passive park hours. I don't have any idea who's going to talk about this.
I'm bringing this to you. It's really operational, but I was hoping to simple roll call for consensus of the commission. So as you know, the Greenway is open 24/7, 365. We have taken the stance previously that all parks close dark to dark. And so we're in the this unique situation that if someone's on the greenway, they're fine. If they take 3 steps off the greenway, they're not, because they're then technically trespassing. So I would like to amend the passive park hours to match the greenways. And then our playgrounds and that sort of thing would still close from 30 minutes before sunup to 30 minutes after sundown. Or I'm sorry, reverse. 30 minutes after sundown to 30 minutes before sunup.
I'll move that if we can get a second and then discuss it.
Second.
Okay, I got some things. Is that related, somewhat related to the incident we've had recently about a group of Christian gentlemen being run off?
They're the ones that brought it to a head. We've always known this. There's been some back and forth about the hours of the greenway.
Right.
It was stated as being closed previously, which was not the case.
Right, it's open all the time.
Correct. The greenway is always open.
Transportation, right.
Correct. And so I'm requesting to follow suit with the passive parks so that that group you're talking about or others can exercise in those areas if they choose. Or
So that doesn't include the commons. That's not part of the park system.
the commons would still operate as it does now under the memorandum of understanding, but it would include the proposed areas of Little Debbie Park that are not a playground. So the pasture area and the arboretum, it would include the Veterans Park and those sorts of things.
So that would be included in the no workout zone. Is that what you're saying?
No, those areas would be allowed.
Oh, still allowed. Okay.
But,
So you-
but facilities such as playgrounds would still be closed.
Good. Okay.
you're
Because they
saying-
were very,
Go ahead.
they were very, very curious. We spent thousands of dollars to get to be a healthy community. You know, everybody should exercise and do things and have a good time. They wave and have a good time with the policemen as they drive by. They're good Christian men. They don't pay a dime. They all participate. It's just a volunteer thing. And it was I appreciate you taking this stance, and I can support you very much in that. And I think they'll be thrilled. So thank you very much, Wayne.
And I think it's a cleaning up of past understandings of what's going on. But with the Greenway being federally funded, state funded, it's a mode of transportation, so it has to stay open.
Mode
So,
of transportation. Yeah.
it's an undue burden on our law enforcement to have to try to patrol those areas. And some people like to get up before sunup. I don't know why y'all like to get up before sunup to work out, but that's more power to you. I guess that's the reason why you look the way you do and I look the way I do. So I would call the question.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Okay,
Tim
Mayor
had
Lamb.
something to say. Did you?
I did, but he called the motion, so I didn't, he cut me off.
I'm sorry. You could still say something.
No, that's all right. It's over with now. I just wanted
I talked too long,
clarification,
he's
that's
ready.
all right.
Mayor Lamb,
Yay. When it's your turn to talk
I got it.
afterwards.
Oh, I'm gonna
You
let
can
into
let
it. You're right.
go.
You better believe it.
Okay, our
My
next
turn.
item is approval of a sewer force main bid.
Eric, tell us some good news. It's cheap, whatever it is.
It's $1 million.
But just read it.
Good evening. Yes,
You may
we
wanna
received
talk about
4 bids. All the bidders were responsive. We did have our engineering firm look into the lowest bid and the second lowest bid. And they did a very thorough evaluation. And they did have several issues with the low bidder on this project. First issue they had was they did not provide any documentation for a project of similar size. They have no previous work history on a 24-inch ductile pressure pipe. They reached out to several previous cities that they had worked with, and they had discovered that they had issues with adequate supervision on previous projects. Projects weren't completed. City staff actually had to come in and finish projects. Third item was they actually had an issue with their bonding company, had to step in and pay suppliers and subcontractors to complete the job, and they actually had to go to court for that. Some of the bidders that they listed on their previous projects they had done reached out to and had poor history with them. In fact, one of the projects they were low bid on a year or two ago with the WWTA, they did not receive. It went to the second lowest bidder. So it's my recommendation that we go with the second lowest bidder, which is Morgan Contracting. They're a big outfit. They've done a lot of work in the Knoxville area. I'm highly recommended. Everyone that they reached out to, our engineering group reached out to, had nothing but good words for them. Their bid price was $2,500,161.
$500,061.
Yes.
For how many feet?
It's a little over 4,100 feet. Yes. Almost a mile of 24-inch ductile iron.
And that's
pipe.
in the sewer fund?
Yes. Yes, it is currently in the upcoming budget, and we do have the amount to be able to cover the project in the
And
budget.
just for the citizens out there, this doesn't come out of what taxpayer?
Correct. This is solely funded through sewer fees. The good portion of this will actually be paid for out of the bonds that we pulled 2 years ago to be able to cover our large gravity line that we just finished, as well as this force main. It is basically the last major critical infrastructure project we're doing right now. This current line was put in back in '79 with a 40-year design life. So it's also the line that was leaking 3 months ago. So it's imperative that we do this project, and we do have the funding to do this project.
If I can just tell you that I think both Eric and Wayne have done an excellent job through the years, staying ahead on the sewer projects and where we are, because you get behind and you end up where Chattanooga is, or potentially where the WWTA is as far as the EPA, and they've done a great job staying ahead of it.
I used to think Wayne was $1 million man, but now you've got him beat.
I delegated.
Right. The Wayne was very, very integral in this process.
So you're looking for an approval of this, a recommendation?
Yes. Looking for an approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the sewer force main bid. Roll call.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. Report from the city manager.
Michelle has the finance report.
Okay, Michelle.
Good evening. You should have the April finance report in front of you. We are 83% through the year, and we have received 109% of anticipated revenues and only expended 87%. So we are 10 months in and looking great. We're going to end well, I believe. You also have the bank account numbers, and there are not many changes there. If you've got any questions.
Any comments or questions for our finance manager?
So where is this $2.1 million coming from?
The sewer fund investment.
So is it the 3.2 million?
It will come out of that.
I just want to make sure.
Yes.
It's hard to swallow that. Well, she said bonds, so I went to like.
When they start putting million behind it, it sort of grabs you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I move to approve the financial report.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion for us to approve our financial report. Roll call.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay.
Thank you.
Anything else,
That's it.
Commissioner White?
Again, I'd like to second what Mayor Lamb said. Our community lost a great statesman and a great Tennessean in Representative Carter. I've asked Wayne to work with the sheriff's office to assist, ask our police department to assist in any way they can in traffic control and any kind of escort duties that they may need to do in honor of Representative Carter. So prayers for his family and our community as we mourn the loss. And Wayne, congratulations. Staff seems very happy. I see Michelle very excited back there. Michelle, you're doing a great job. Your finance reports are very good. And it's getting, you're not used to speaking, so you're getting really good at it. So look forward to working with you guys more in the future. And to the guys from F3, more power to you for working out before sunup. I guess this morning I could have joined y'all. I was at 4:30 and at the gym at 5:30. So maybe I will one of these days, but I hear y'all are pretty intense. So we'll see. But thank you guys.
Just to add on, I did ask the city to make sure that flowers were sent from the city to the Mr. Carter's funeral.
Thank you. That's good.
Commissioner Garver.
Yes, I want to also extend my congratulations to Wayne and look forward to working with you. It's going to be an enjoyable journey. I'm confident. One other thing, 2 weeks from today is Memorial Day, and we're going to right a wrong. We're going to right a wrong at the Veterans Park. For 15 years, I've been bothered that there's not been a female out there, and we're going to dedicate a bronze female at the Veterans Park 2 weeks from today. The sculpture artist will be here. We got some good music coming, some great music. It's going to be a fun afternoon at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. Monday, Memorial Day, rain or shine at the park, because we're not going to be able to move the bronze over to the Commons to have our dedication. So if it's raining, we will be there, because that's the only thing we can do, the only time we can do it. So please join us, pass the word around. It'll be a fun, great event as we honor the women, the females who have served our nation honorably over the many years. And it's really great to have that added addition to our park. So tomorrow morning, we're taking all the flags down, putting new ones up. If any of y'all have a special flag you'd like to take home that's flown in our park, come by between 9 and 11, and you can have as many of them as you want. Because otherwise, our local Pathfinder Club is going to dispose of them properly, but we don't mind giving them to people if they're interested. And you can give a donation as well. But thank you.
Commissioner Baker.
I'll expound like with Carter, Representative Carter. It is going to be a great loss for our community. I would like to ask something. I was over here yesterday in the park, and there was a family having a birthday party for an 11-year-old young man. But up on the, I don't know if it'll be with the Parks and Recreation or if it's going to be with Public Works or whoever, up on the, there was like 6 kids, older children, on top of the slide, the roof of the slide, you know what I'm talking about, the very top where they're not supposed to be. Do we have adequate signs posted? Because the parents didn't care. And they were not just sitting there. They were pushing and shoving on top, which to me, that's just a accident waiting to happen. So is there signs posted about not climbing?
I don't see no signs. I'll have to check on the pool sign. I believe there is something on there.
Yeah.
On the outside of the signs. I'll have to double check.
Okay, because I'd like to have something there. When we get the new park built, I'm sure there's things that the older kids will be able to do with the zip line and everything. But that, I went out and told them to get down and everything. But I thought if the kids are going to do it when I'm not there, so I just want to make sure that they're safe and we're not liable. Yeah, climb at your own risk is fine with me.
But then they'll sue us.
Yeah. It's got the sign posted, you know, and I can sympathize. I couldn't keep my son off second-story buildings. You know, I mean, he just liked to climb, and I understand that. But the fact that they were shoving and pushing and not softly, you know, they could have fallen off easily.
Vice Mayor?
I think I'll get with you tomorrow and ask more clarification when I got overruled or cut out for making my comment, but I don't truly understand what happened on that.
It's age catching up.
It is age. So what Phil was saying that he appreciated, I guess did I hear that the Veterans Park is going to be closed at sundown? Did I?
No, it would remain open.
24 hours a day
Yeah,
because it's
agreed.
lit
It's
as
just the
well.
playground area.
Correct. The,
Yeah.
the Veterans Park would remain open, the pasture would remain open, the soccer field, the playground at Thatcher Switch, Imagination Station, the playground at the Little Debbie Park, and the playground at the Kiwanis
What about
Park would be
the
closed.
pickle court?
The pickleball court has lights, and so those hours would remain the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
I just want to say welcome, Wayne.
Thank you.
I know you have been doing a tremendous job on the spur of the moment here. And we appreciate what you've been doing.
Thank you.
And welcome to a new role. Now we have to look for your replacement.
He didn't smile about that.
No, he didn't, did he?
So,
You have something else? Oh, okay. That's all I have. If somebody wants to
Move to adjourn.
adjourn,
second.
is there a second?
Second.
We're adjourned.
Let's go eat supper.